Okay, we're on.
Okay.
I'm assuming today
Okay.
as well.
All right. Good morning and welcome to the April 19th, 2023 meeting of the Council of Aging Board of April 19th. Yes, I said that. Do I have a call to order, please?
So moved.
Second.
The first thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes of our meetings on March 15th.
Can you read the mission statement?
Oh, okay, you want me to read the mission statement first? Okay, yes, I know, this is our new thing. So I am going to read the mission of the Council on Aging. The mission of the Council of Aging is to advocate for Groveland's older adults, to identify their needs, to develop and implement services to meet their health, economic, social, and cultural needs, to encourage maximum independence, and to improve their quality of life. Okay, so now, approval of the minutes of the meetings March 15th, and then we will approve the March 28th. So March 15th, are there any, well, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of March 15th?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of March 28th?
So moved.
And I fixed the spelling.
Okay.
I misspelled the name, so I fixed the spelling.
So,
Very moved.
any discussion?
Oh. And
Okay, so all in favor of approving the minutes of March 28th with the fixing of the spelling as amended, please say aye.
aye.
Okay. Treasurer's report. I believe we have in our packet, we have the ledger history of many pages. And Marie, do you want to speak about our treasurer's report?
Yes, this month, the treasurer's report is a little different because the figures are always changing between the accountant's figures and mine because of a different way of figuring it. So Ellen was nice enough to print up a report, and the top page gives is a wrap-up of expenditures for the month. And so that, as you have that in front of you on the top page, you'll be able to see the money spent so far on the director's salary and all the way down to the vehicle maintenance. And this is probably a lot easier to, and then attached to it is the full report listing all the expenses and so forth that the accountant was preparing. And personally, I find it much more informative than the way I was doing it, so this is probably the way it should be done every month.
Yes, I think it's, this is the up-to-date.
This is up to date,
Up-to-date,
right?
as of today, or whenever she printed this.
She printed this yesterday.
Okay, yeah. So that doesn't mean that there are some things that are still outstanding.
Right,
But in general, I think if we just look down at the percentage,
right,
at the last column, that
Mhm.
tells us, gives us a good snapshot of where we are.
right.
And at this point in the year, we should be about at least 75%
Yeah.
or more spent down.
So
Um,
is the percentage how much we have spent or how much is left?
How much have spent. So if you
Okay.
notice, we have under expenses and our vehicle maintenance expenses are pretty much almost 100%. So there's not much left in there.
Mhm.
And then, of course, we have quite a bit for the director's salary because we have not had a director for the full year. It's been little pieces, where, when Lynn came in and when
Sean?
Sean was here. So that's why that is so low. Program coordinator is right where it should be. Outreach again, because we don't have the worker. Yes?
we no longer have a program coordinator.
No, but
We
this
have an
is,
assistant director, so what has to happen for us to finally
change the name.
change this title, this job description, after it's been approved for more than a year?
I think we discussed this when we met with the
yes.
town accountant and the town administrator, and I believe it's because this is the way it was budgeted for the current fiscal year.
So can
That's
it
why it's
change
this
for the
way.
next fiscal year?
I believe that it will. They're aware of this. It's
They're
a,
aware of this, but I do not believe it's on the warrant for this coming year's
I thought,
budget. I did not, I'll
I
have to check.
thought the budget said assistant director.
Did it say?
I
Yeah,
thought so.
I'll have to check.
But I believe that's because we did ask that question, and I believe it's because this is the way the budget was submitted last year. So they track against the budget.
Okay, and do we know if I'm not sure on all these pages if I can see it quickly enough, has the DOT money been deposited? The DOT grant money?
Should have been.
So there's
let's-
separate, there are
there's the
separate
formula.
pages. Yeah, there are separate accounts for each of those. Let me see if I can see where that is.
Yeah, the formula grant is on the last page, and somewhere here will be, that's the formula grant, that's the formula
I
grant.
know, that's what I was looking for, was the,
You can look under the little
right, the headings.
headings.
The revolving account, the formula
There's our
grant, the
revolving
formula
account.
grant.
And I also see, we did get a copy of next year's budget, and for Council on Aging, it does say Assistant Director, and then parentheses, including Program
Okay,
Coordinator. So
that's
they-
that's where.
So it is
yeah.
listed as Assistant Director
Where did you
slash.
see that?
Yeah.
What
This was
page?
in, there's something that they gave us at the meeting.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you very much,
thank you.
We don't
Barbara.
now have one of those?
It's not
Is
in
it
here.
the code 2776, page 8 of 9?
Page 8, which one?
I think page 8 of 9.
Yeah,
I believe that is the transportation, the DOT. It says COA Operating Assistance Grant, but it's different than the formula grant, so I believe it's code 2776.
okay.
It could be.
And you'll see,
Oh, state grant, COA Operating Assistance Grant. I
believe that's the DOT.
That,
Yes.
okay. Thank you very much, Deb.
Is that this one?
Thank you for
Yes,
finding.
page 8, up
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
at the top.
Thank you.
Huh, okay,
Okay,
good to know.
so yes, that money had been. Good question, because as of last meeting, I don't believe it had been.
No,
received
it hadn't.
yet. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions about the treasurer's report?
well, actually, one,
Yeah.
I'm not sure it has been received. I guess it has, I'm not really sure, because it shows all the $360 per pay period or coming out, or 720, whatever that is. But I'm not really sure. I don't know
Oh,
where we see it coming
no,
in.
because when you see ending, it says negative, negative,
Correct.
negative.
So
So
who
maybe it
Wow.
has
who
not.
applies for the grant payments? Is that Nisha?
Well, we
now?
have to do that.
Right.
That's how we get the grant
Right, I
payment,
know
exactly.
that. So is
I thought
anybody
that was,
doing it?
I thought Nisha was supposed to be doing that, but I,
What, to apply for?
You have
Apply
to-
for the grant payments,
yeah, you have to submit paperwork to the state to get them to send you the money.
like quarterly or so, depending on how often they send it.
Okay.
Because remember, there was that call, I missed it, but you guys, somebody went on a call about how to do that.
Right.
I wasn't able to be on it, but there's certain paperwork that has to be submitted through a specific site.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And every time you get a payment from a grant, you then turn around and submit your paperwork again for the next payment.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So
So
you
we
you
just need-
document what
So
you've
we
used it for.
document this.
We need to make sure that's being done.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So
I
did
don't know if
Marie go to
Sean
that?
was doing it, or if
I know, I thought, when we
Well,
had Sean, I
now in
thought he
his-
was doing.
absence, then
Right.
hopefully Nisha's doing it.
I don't believe Nisha,
We
Nisha's.
we don't know that.
Yeah.
We'd have to ask her.
I think it was, yeah, we'll have to find out. All right,
Should
good
the
question.
Finance Subcommittee take that responsibility?
Right. Okay, so that was DOT grant.
Oh, yeah, it's all negatives.
Well, it may be something,
This is what
My memory on this was that Nisha was going to get access to the site to do this.
Yeah, and
Right,
then,
well, we had that.
and then
We do
maybe
not have, the finance subcommittee doesn't have access to
no, we
that
have
site.
no access. We
And
have
it
to
really
get
should
the
be
access.
someone in,
On staff.
yes.
Okay.
Or treasurer who could have access to all of
Right,
that,
an
too.
officer, yeah, I
Right.
think so. We do need to find this out, though.
Okay, I have a question for that. Okay, so I had asked Nisha for an update on her treasurer, her assistant director report, and the first page of the packet actually goes to a lot of our old business. So the first thing on paper that says April 2023 is her report. The MCOA is somewhere where Nisha has suggested that we put our job opportunities down, because people who are looking for positions like van driver, like outreach worker, like director, would maybe be looking on this site rather than coming to the town of Groveland and looking at it. And from what she said, it's, it's a free posting. So we can move forward and see if we can post the van positions and the outreach worker position on that site. We're kind of in a period of flux, because if we have it, those two positions, as far as I know, there is only one possible person who has applied for the outreach worker. I spoke with him and told him where to apply. Before we know what's going to happen with the town budget, right now we're advertising for the present rates, but if the town budget is passed, then that's a whole different ballgame. And I don't know if we should just continue now, and once we find out if it's passed or not, and then put it on this MCOA site, or put it on the MCOA site, and then if it's passed, we say, and now it's, more money for these positions.
What the finance subcommittee, when we met with the town accountant and the town administrator, what we had discussed was posting it as a range.
A range, yes.
What we're currently
And the
posting it
same-
at,
Right,
up to,
and that
What
could be
the-
the
what's
same with
being-
the director
yes,
position.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think that's the way, rather than
Right,
holding it up or waiting, I think it should be posted with the range, because you're right, until town meeting happens and town election happens.
right.
We
We
don't
don't
know.
really know. And that was something that, we were going to discuss down the road about the director position. So I would like to have the board vote on this in terms of, should we go ahead and post all three positions as a, at least at this site, the MCOA site, and we have not posted the director position yet. Should we go ahead and post that on the town website as a, salary range? So could I have a motion to,
Well, wait, oh,
go ahead.
sorry, no, go ahead, do your
No.
motion, and then there's discussion, right?
Right,
Okay.
right. So do I have a motion to post the meetings, post the positions on the MCOA site and the town website as a range of salaries? I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second?
Okay. Discussion?
I think it's a great idea. I was wondering how we would get around, so posting it as a range makes perfect sense to me. You didn't include the MMA site,
Before, no.
which I think we should also post it. I think it should be all three places: on the town, on the Mass Council on Aging website, and in the Mass Municipal Association website. We can talk a little bit more about the director's position when we get
When
down
we
to
get
new
to that, right,
position,
right.
new business.
Any other discussion?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Are there steps we have to take first about the director's opening? Do we have to accept the letter of resignation, and do the Board of Selectmen have to accept it for us to be able to be free to post? Just wondering.
From my understanding of the bylaws, it's a courtesy to have the Board of Selectmen accept the resignation. We are the people who accept the resignation.
Okay.
So, do you want to postpone this vote and jump ahead and talk about the director position and then come back? If this is,
No, let's-
because we have to accept
I
the
would say let's-
resignation before we, yeah.
Well, let's just vote that our plan,
This is our
we're going to
plan.
post open positions on those 3 places with salary ranges. Can we
On
just
the
say it that way?
MCOA and the town website. Okay. So, yeah, we do, without
motion.
naming, yeah. All positions, we, instead of all 3 positions, all positions. And then we are, and that could be going forward too, if, heaven forbid, we have to do this again. Okay.
For all positions.
Mhm.
Okay.
On these 2, at least to start, these 2 websites. Okay? Any other discussion?
You said on 2 websites?
Yes, the MCOA and the town website.
In the
Oh,
M-
And the
Okay.
MMA.
What did I,
There are 3 websites.
oh, well, MMA, I believe, costs money.
We have a time.
And so, I mean, that,
Yeah.
okay, all right. So there are 3 websites then.
Okay.
Okay. So to post all positions as a range of salary on the MMA, the MCOA, and the town, Groveland Town website.
And where does the money come from to post it on the MMA?
I guess revolving fund or formula grant
So it comes from
from us.
our money?
Right.
okay.
That was what, I wasn't sure about that. I thought it came through the town.
I don't know.
I
but
don't know
We
either.
can check with the
Yeah.
town administrator on that.
Yeah.
Right.
And we probably can vote later, if necessary, to move it from one line to another, would be my guess, if we need to.
Right.
Right, okay.
Okay. So do we need to make the whole new? So let's make the amendment. Do I have a motion to make the amendment on the initial motion to state, post all positions as a range of salary on the MMA, the MCOA, and the town website going forward? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I will do that. I will find out about, where the money comes from, too. Okay. So under old business and assistant director, she went down through the old business and, looked through our agenda and gave us the information. The AARP tax program ended 2 weeks ago, April 7th. We received wonderful feedback from the residents. Still many calls coming in about the program last week. Like, I had somebody call me Friday, April 7th, saying, hi, can I come do my taxes? It's like, And then one person last week, too, and it was like, no, we're done, it's over. We had very wonderful in-kind donations to the Council on Aging. People sent money or gift cards as a thank you. So it was successful. Nisha only heard one complaint, and it was about somebody who came here on a Friday afternoon for her appointment and called and said, it's not here. And, I made this and I had public transportation to get here and da-da-da-da. It was very specific, and especially where I know who the person was, and I made the appointment. I spoke to this same person probably 5 or 6 times when she had my number. So she just got confused again. The tent is up, and it will come down around November 1st, depending on the weather. Nisha has contacted the person, I do not remember his name, but the person from the tent company. He's coming in by the latest next week to measure for the sides, and we'll go ahead with that. We were wondering if it could be done through Amazon, since we do have quite a bit of an Amazon credit because of the refrigerator, but I think it's, if this man is coming to measure, we really should use him. He's the one that, we purchased the tent through, whatever his company is. And thank you for those who helped putting the tent up. I can't wait to do 3B Fit next week outside. Upcoming events, May 23rd, the COA is going to celebrate the Older Americans Day. We're going to have a program and lunch, partially funded by the Mass Cultural Council. The program is Music from the Sound of Music with Ruth Harkovitz. And there is a press release attached here, if you got to see it, and explains. I think this will be going in the newsletter.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I have a question.
Yes.
Did the press release come from her, or did someone here type up the press release?
That I do not know.
I mean, it's on her letterhead, but I don't know. I'm just wondering.
I would
because
imagine she did it.
Because it
sounds like-
says, I mean, it's fine, but it's at the very last paragraph before, who says it supports, says Ruth Harkovitz has thrilled thousands with her sparking voice.
Typo, yeah.
Typo.
Just saying.
Yep, so maybe we
I don't
will-
know. I mean, sorry. Just like,
Thank you.
they just like jump out at me sometimes.
Yeah, right, I didn't, I was reading this all on my little tiny
Yeah, which
email.
I wouldn't see him there either.
So, yeah, before we put this, and the thing is, we wouldn't be putting this whole thing, with the Soprano, Miss Massachusetts USA, all her, website and everything on there. So we could probably just quickly fix this before it goes in to the newsletter.
Well,
Thank you.
this will just be, yeah, it'll be fixed.
Okay.
Yeah, because, we're not going to put the letterhead and all of that on, and this
Yeah.
says press release. The May-June newsletter is due to the printer next Monday. It will be printed on the following Friday. This time, it will not be mailed out on a large scale. We just, we did not get the money from the Friends to pay for the postage, and where we are so short-staffed, it was decided that we will be mailed to certain residents who request it, and to those who paid the $12 for the year. The rest will be here for people to pick up at the COA office, at the library, at the fire station, I think at Jerry's, at all the different little stores in town. Over at the Haverhill COA will be copies of this for people to pick up.
Perhaps we should ask the 3 churches in town if they would put them out as well.
That's a very good idea. Yep.
That might be.
To reach more, and they will also be added to any people who
Delivery
get
bags.
the
Yep.
deliveries for food. So, until we have, I know we have people that help with the folding and all of this, but it's an endeavor to put out is it bi-monthly newsletter? And I believe Irene is going to be working on it, and if you need help, I will definitely help you.
Well, I predict that it will be shorter than usual. And Deb, I want to confirm with you, the Groveland congregation.
Second Saturday lunch. Second Saturday
It's
of every
always
month.
the second
Except in
Saturday.
November, but let's not worry about that right now.
Second Saturday
Yeah.
of the month.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so I'll put it
11:30 to 1.
11:30 to 1. What
Yep.
else do I need to know to make sure it gets on the calendar this
Yep.
time?
That's it, I think.
Okay.
Free to anyone that wants to come.
Yes. That's what you call it, right? The free,
We call it community lunch.
okay.
Second Saturday community lunch.
That's right, community lunch. Second Saturday, community lunch. Thank you.
Thank you for remembering.
Yes.
And I am predicting that collating won't be necessary for this newsletter.
No, it shouldn't be, because if we
Right.
have it this way, I believe what Nisha was explaining to me is that the company that puts the newsletter together for prints and puts it together for us, if we are not mailing it, they will staple it for us, and it's all ready to go. So depending on how many we have to mail, we could always take the staple out and put the 2 pieces of tape for those few that are the $12.
Maybe we don't need it stapled at all, for anybody. They put it together.
It's collated, but then,
It's collated, and maybe we just
We don't have to
delete
fold it,
the
that's right.
staples. Yeah. Just don't have them do that extra step.
well, that's
because
a
it
question
stays
we'll ask,
together.
we'll ask
That's not even
Nisha
stapled, is
how
it?
that happens. No,
They
see,
probably
that
could.
one,
Well,
that one we
separated,
had,
huh?
because
we
we
mailed, right.
mailed
Like
it,
this
Yeah.
one,
they didn't
separated.
staple
It
it.
already comes
Right.
as a booklet.
It comes as a booklet, but though,
Yeah.
this is, yeah,
Comes like
the new
But when
format.
you mail it, you have
I
to fold it and tape
understand
it.
that.
But
Right.
they will also, can I have this for a second? They will also go like this, according to Nisha. They open it to the center, staple, staple.
Right, but, so
Do they even
here's,
need to?
here's the last
But it's
one.
separated somehow.
No staples, not needed,
I don't
stays
think it's falling
together.
apart.
No, I don't think they
It's
need to be
fine.
stapled.
Okay, so that will be a discussion with Nisha.
You know,
about the-
and it, I say simplify, simplify, simplify at this
Okay.
time.
And while we're talking about the newsletter, I would like your approval or your editing or whatever on the front page. We always put like a letter of some type.
Oh, it'll be edited 2 or 3 times, and if I miss something, I miss something.
Okay, so you don't want me
Mea
to read it
culpa.
and see what it says? Okay, and, but I have a little, explanation.
Yeah,
I can send it down. And then at the bottom of this, I would like to put something about, so we need your help. Would you, should you, could you
right.
volunteer for the COA and put the various volunteer opportunities
Right.
that we have,
Well,
right
this-
there, big and bold on the
The
front page.
newsletter will all be done on computers right here, which also has the benefit of Nisha being right here to be able to confirm,
Right.
correct anything that needs, revise
Okay.
anything that needs to be done.
All right, good. Traveling Chef will continue through September. Program is funded through Age Span, and about 40 meals are delivered to Groveland residents. Out-of-town residents can pick their meals up at the COA office.
And they do.
But it will be ending, I guess this will only be through September. And,
That may depend on funding.
okay,
And I know at one point it was supposed to have stopped at another point, and then funding was renewed and they continued with it.
Right. so I have an email about that too, but yeah.
Okay.
And just going through here also, I'm sorry, here we go. Oh, geez, I can't see.
Just read the bottom.
Well, the air conditioning on the van is not working again. Just when we're beginning to need it with this weather from last week. So he has spoken with you regarding the issue, so go for it, Larry.
Okay,
We're
well-
jumping all over, I'm just doing this as the director.
Evidently, there were 2 problems with the van. The one that we had corrected at the Chevrolet dealership was with the heating air conditioning unit that was part of the van, but the AC unit that is part of the conversion is a different company in a different place. So I will make and we didn't know whether or not the AC was working because
It hadn't
the
been cold.
repair
It
was
wasn't in the winter.
in the winter. So as, when spring came around, I asked Maureen and Frank to run the AC unit, and it is still not functioning the way it should. So I will make arrangements with Frank to bring it
To do
down
like you
to
did this
to
other
the other place. And, we'll plan it according to the van schedule and the business schedule to see what they
What
will
can be
do
done.
about it.
Oh, is it still under warranty?
I hope so.
So do I.
Okay, thank you, Larry. Key cards are available in the office to any senior who uses the Groveland COA. It's considered a My Senior Center membership. You take your little key tag, you go right into the COA office anytime you come to an activity or even for a visit, and you scan yourself in and say why you're there. And it's a way that every time people scan in, it goes right to My Senior Center logs. And that proves how many people we come to our programs, how many people are involved with board work, how many people are involved in the pantry, all the different things that the COA does. And it's rather than, Nisha trying to keep a list as people walk in and out. Okay, the food pantry, as you all know now, since our last meeting, the refrigerator was not replaced. We decided to keep the one we had. It's working great. The temperature was approved by the Board of Health and our neighbor's table. And yesterday, when I came in, Nisha said, it's at 37 degrees. I mean, that's cooler than, so it's working. And there was no need to do all this change around. She has the pantry hours from Wednesday 2 to 4 and Thursday 9 to 3.
When we get to that point, we really need to talk about this, because every place I look, the pantry hours are different.
Right.
We've got one set for volunteers, we don't, it's different everywhere.
Right, so,
When we get to that point, we need to.
yes.
That's not accurate.
Well, thank you, because I'm kind of confused myself. So
Yeah.
we do have that on our agenda to discuss. Is the next
Yeah.
part correct? The outreach
Yep.
services and pantry orders?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, they are placed with Maureen Lealock, our interim outreach worker, on Mondays and Tuesdays from 8 to 4:30.
But people can still walk in without making an order with Maureen.
Okay.
And that's what's not, I think that's one of the things that has not been made clear to people.
Right.
There's one place where it says they have to make an appointment to come in on Thursdays, which is not true.
Right.
It's very discombobulated right now.
I think, yeah,
So we need to
different
get
people
this
were
straight
making
for the-
different changes, yes.
Yes, without communicating it appropriately or to the people that needed to know.
Right,
So,
okay.
Same information everywhere.
So we,
Same information everywhere.
yes, one set, we're going to decide that today, what the
Yeah.
hours are.
and we need to communicate this clearly in the newsletter.
Yes.
And something else
That's the goal.
Nisha mentioned, where Maureen only works here on Mondays and Tuesdays. So when Nisha was out last week, and Maureen worked her Monday and Tuesday,
No, she
calls
was
that
sick.
came
She was
in,
sick.
and then she was sick on Monday. But when calls came in, everyone was calling the main number, and no one had access to that answering machine, the main number 372-1101, and they were asking for meals to be delivered. They're asking to come down for the pantry. They were
When I
coming
was here-
down. Yeah.
Right, when I was here on Thursday, was that the day I was here? What day, I forget what day I was here last week, Thursday. And I answered the phone if I heard it ring, because I was concerned that it was going to be people wanting food.
Wanting, yeah.
And in a couple of cases, it was.
Right.
We have to get a better handle on that. When Nisha's going to be out, we
Right.
have to.
Well, people that are looking for food need to call that office, the
But they won't.
outreach.
That you're not
Right,
gonna
well, they're
get that.
saying to put that in the newsletter, because this is a whole new phone system.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, really what it should be is there should be I would think that there should be something when they call the main number.
Would you like the
says,
food
Do
pantry?
you want the food pantry? Press this. Do you
Mhm.
want, do you want to speak to,
Another one of those.
I-
Well, I don't know if that would work either.
I don't know if this phone
like-
but people,
system
I mean,
works
everybody in
that
their
way.
head has 372-1101, right?
Right.
And then when you actually look and it's like, oh, it's 556 and people, it's,
Right.
I don't know.
So for years, on the newsletter, there's been one COA phone number published. So maybe what we could do is COA main number or something, maybe that's not the right word, and then outreach/food pantry
That
and do
number.
the second number.
You can put it there, but
We could
again,
Try.
how many people really, if they keep it and they remember it, it's
Well,
fine.
Notice I remembered the other number. I always call that number because,
372-1101?
yeah, because it's one digit off of my old school number.
Well,
I
it's
used to
easy,
get
too. You
all
don't have
kinds
to remember, because everyone
Right.
thinks of Groveland as 372, 373.
Right, not the 556.
So,
So, yep, that was just something that Nisha just mentioned to
mean,
me
yeah.
anyway, that there were a number of calls.
I mean,
For
obviously,
the
the
food
better
pantry.
answer is we should have the staff so that we have coverage.
Yes, exactly.
That's what I was thinking.
That's the
Exactly.
perfect-
Because
Somebody has to cover that office.
So that-
And like we said from the beginning, volunteers in the food pantry really shouldn't be answering anything other than,
Food-related,
Right. And I mean, I got a couple, I did answer it on Thursday because I couldn't sit there and listen to the phone ringing. So I answered a couple, which were food pantry. I also answered others that were people looking for their need appointments, that hadn't had their need appointments confirmed, you know, that were looking, and that I can't help them with,
Right.
you know?
You could have directed them to call Neat.
Except they have the NEAT phone number,
Mhm.
which I did not, I said, that's what I did. I told one woman, I said, if you have the NEAT phone number, the NEAT phone number that I had was only for volunteering, if you wanted to volunteer at NEAT. That's the one that's in our newsletter, if you want to be a volunteer driver. That's the one that I could find. There's another phone number that people that are actually use NEAT are given if they need to make a change to their schedule. So one woman I went to Frank to see if he had access to NEAT. He didn't have access to NEAT. And I sent an email to Nisha and Maureen, just on the off chance that anyone checked their email
Right.
when they weren't working, in the hopes that they might get it soon enough.
I know, it's
It's not a
because we're
good situation.
understaffed. No, we're understaffed.
It's
and-
not a good
And like you
situation.
said, volunteers don't have that ability or access, or, nor should they. You know, so,
I mean, at one point, I think I had 2 people in the phone pantry, in the food pantry, the phone was ringing off the hook, and
yeah,
I mean, the better answer is we have to staff this place.
Right.
right. Okay, and then we have here's the question about the Mass DOT grant. End of April, we would need to do the reporting. Now, she's asking if there's a board member. All right, I'll find out about that. And then we have the town accountant, we talked about that. All right, so that's the assistant director. Let's see, under old business, we did the AARP tax program. Pantry food services updates. Let's go pantry workers. What did you want to?
So actually, Maureen sent an email right before the meeting started.
Oh, she
That has
did.
really good information.
Oh.
If you guys don't mind, I can just give you 8:27, so probably no one's had a chance to read it. So she, and I think this is important, we don't have to put it, don't worry about writing this down, Irene, but I think it's important for everyone to know. So the weight of orders of pounds of food that were sent out, for the month of December, we sent out 125 pounds of food. January, 287 pounds. February, 664 pounds. March through March 15th, 732 pounds. And then March 15th through March 30th, 842. So for March,
Yeah, it's really.
1,575 pounds in the month of March.
What does that tell us?
It tells us there's a big need, and it tells us Maureen is doing her job very
Yeah,
well
she's doing a wonderful-
by reaching out and letting people know that this exists.
Right.
Can you forward that email?
You
to
have,
me?
she sent it to all of us,
All
I
of
think.
us.
I didn't see
Oh,
it.
she didn't?
I think so.
Oh, she sent it out to the volunteer. So, you know, the COA volunteer, that email. I will.
Well,
You should still get
should
it,
still
right?
get
I'll
it.
forward it to your own.
Thank you.
So, I mean, that
Yeah, I didn't get
is
it.
pretty significant, and I don't know, I don't remember, but I mean, usually a couple 100 pounds on a Wednesday and a little bit less on a Thursday.
So
we've
it's
been
gotta be her that's getting that amount of poundage out. I mean, a big part of it is,
Well, no, think about it, because if we do 200 pounds on a Wednesday, and there's 4 Wednesdays, that's 800.
a month, yeah,
Right.
okay.
And then another 400 on Thursdays is 1,200. And then the handful that she probably does where people come in on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's a pretty significant
Oh, very
Pretty
significant.
good, it's awesome.
outreach activity.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people we missed. Then the phone didn't get answered on Wednesday and Thursday
Right,
last week,
right.
so.
And
Right.
then the program's saying that they have to make an appointment on Thursday.
Right.
I never
There's no need for that.
liked that. But
And does this email also indicate how many deliveries have to be made today?
There's another email that says, again, that Frank can do all the deliveries. So we'll see. I'm here to deliver if it needs to be done, because it was my day, but the 2 people, me and the other person that were supposed to be delivering, were both emailed and said, don't bother coming, because Frank's going to do the deliveries. So that happened last week, and that wasn't the case. Frank got there, and he's like, why do I have all these deliveries?
Okay.
And so he ended up calling one of the people that had already been told not to come, had that person come in and do some of the deliveries, because it's too, I mean, 4 people, it can be a lot.
Right,
So,
right.
I don't know, we'll see. I'm here anyways today, if I need to do it.
So do you want to,
Let's talk about hours.
the hours, discuss the hours?
Yes. So deliveries, let's start, because that's the
Or
first.
deliveries, right.
Deliveries is confusing a little bit. There's a group of 4 or 5 people that had signed up months ago when this appeal first went out, back when Maria was still here, to have deliverers. They all happen to be from the Groveland Congregational Church. There's a woman at the church that coordinates and gives those of us that are delivery drivers our schedule of what days we're working. When Maria was here, Maria used to always, of course, Maria was here on Wednesdays and Thursdays, which were the pantry hours. Maria would send an email in the morning telling each of the drivers who they needed to deliver to. If there was more than those 2 people could handle and Frank could do it, then she would have Frank deliver, okay?
As well.
As well. So now with Maureen being here Monday and Tuesday, it's maybe not quite as neat, but the system we now have is Maureen emails either at the end of the day on Tuesday, because she knows by Tuesday who has called and requested a
By
delivery.
Tuesday, right.
And she will tell the people that they have deliveries to make or that they are not needed. And then when they come in, there should be, Nisha usually prints something out and leaves it on the desk in the pantry office that tells who needs deliveries. We fill, whoever's working the first shift in the pantry on Wednesdays fills any perishable items or any new things that are coming in from our neighbor's table into those already started non-perishable deliveries, and we get those out. So that's the way the deliveries work now.
So all deliveries are done on Wednesdays?
Yes, except that like last week when I was here on Thursday, and when I picked up the phone, one of them was a woman that was very confused and needed food. So I just kind of,
You put it together.
I put
and
together
did it
something
yourself.
for her, and then I was going to deliver it when I left. But then Frank came in and had a break in between his next, so Frank ended up taking hers on Thursdays. But normally deliveries are only done on Wednesdays, but I couldn't tell this woman
Sorry.
she couldn't
Wait
have
a week,
food,
can't
Right.
do that.
No.
so,
And especially where last week.
It was so
it-
confusing
it-
anyway.
It was confusing with,
yeah.
phone calls.
And
and
she may
phones.
have called prior to the call that I got, I don't know.
Right.
But,
And maybe not left a message even.
right, but normally their deliveries are on Wednesdays.
Yes, we do.
Somebody to stay in the office.
Or we
And
need a full-time outreach.
And do you need
Yeah, we
more
do.
people to do the deliveries?
deliveries seem to work okay. We have, the way it works, because we all get our schedule like 2 months in advance.
As to what days you're
Yeah.
working?
Pantry, we probably could use a couple more people in the pantry, because if people are away, if 2 people happen to be away on the same week, we're kind of stuck. So, yeah, we could probably use a couple more people. They do have to be quarried.
And what do you do when you're in the pantry, as we're on
Okay,
TV to tell
all right.
people?
Can we backtrack to the deliveries for 1 minute?
Sure.
So Deb, you explained very clearly how it used to work when Maria was here.
Yes.
So now, if there are 2 people scheduled to make deliveries today,
Yeah.
are they both going to just show up, whether they're needed or not?
So what
or-
I've asked is that Maureen email
Okay,
the scheduled delivery people and tell them, you know, yes, you have deliveries, or no, you don't have deliveries.
so did you get an email?
I got an email today saying, you don't have any deliveries, Frank's
Okay.
going to do them all.
All right, thank you. So Maureen is
Yes,
clearly
Maureen is doing that.
communicating with
Yeah.
the
Yes, she
scheduled
is.
delivery
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah, the only real difference is that, and it doesn't matter, is that Maria used to say, like, she'd send me my list and say, you're delivering to so-and-so and so-and-so.
Yes,
Maureen just says you need to deliver, and then we come in and we find out, but it doesn't matter.
okay, right.
You know, it
Right.
doesn't matter, we come in and we, you know.
And is there a scheduled time the delivery people come?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things on the lines, on the hours that I'd like to talk about.
Yes.
It always was, they came at 2.
Yes.
And that was because that was when Frank would come back from our neighbor's table, because in the pandemic, just so that everyone understands, people would call our neighbor's table and order their food, recipients would.
Right.
and our neighbor's table would bag up all the food, mark it with their names. Frank would go to our neighbor's table every Wednesday, get all the deliveries in the van. The delivery drivers would then meet Frank in the back of behind the fire station. And we would transfer whoever my people were into my car, and so forth. Now that our neighbor's table no longer packages groceries, what happens is our clients call Maureen, or Maureen calls them, Monday or Tuesday, they place the order. If there are things that are specifically perishables or things that we may not have, Maureen places an order with our neighbor's table, as well as for things just to replenish the pantry. She places that order, I believe, on Tuesdays. Our neighbor's table delivers here right around 12:30.
Right.
Sometimes it's a few minutes early, it's been maybe as late as 1:45, but that's about the latest. Have you guys ever seen it later than 1:45?
No.
Yeah, I don't, it's usually by 12:30.
So they
12:15
come,
to 12:30 is what I.
yeah, usually
That's what I've
12:30.
seen too.
So they bring in a delivery, perishables, the milk, the eggs, meats in the freezer, fresh vegetables, fresh fruit. We then, whoever's working then, puts away and can fill the bags that are going out for delivery. So I would like to recommend that we have the delivery people start coming probably at 1:30. Because.
Really?
Yeah, because if we wait till
Okay.
2, so what has happened a couple of times, is, we're busy, we're putting things away, people are coming into the pantry, walk-ins are coming into the pantry, and we realize, oops, we have a delivery bag and the person requested X, and there's no longer any of X left because
Someone walked in.
walk-ins. And that's only happened maybe once or
Right,
twice.
right, yes.
And actually, one of the times it didn't really happen, because afterwards the man told me that he found it in his bag, like days later.
Days later.
Hope it wasn't
After he
perishable.
called to ask me where his sausage was.
So
Like, oh, I'm
is
so
that,
sorry.
is that giving enough time to package everything and put
Yeah.
everything away? So
Well,
what
we
usually-
need to have 2 people.
You
for-
need 2 people.
Which we usually, we have.
Which we
yeah,
usually do.
We do.
By the
There's-
way, because
yes.
even though they're scheduled at 1, I find they come in by 12:30,
Yeah.
knowing the
So-
situation.
And we can change our schedule too.
So the
Right.
2 times on Wednesday, for the 2 people on Wednesday, the times are,
Well, right now, one person comes in from 12 to 2,
Right.
and one person comes in from 1 to 4. We need to discuss that, because
Yeah.
there's an overlap between 1 and 2.
right. Do you think that's enough of an overlap? If the food is
No.
delivered, I don't either.
No.
No, I think the
It probably should be,
12 to 4. Or 12:30 to 4.
let's step
Let's
back a
think.
minute. Let's
Yeah.
step back. Let's,
Yeah.
is everybody clear on deliveries now, or is there any more
Yes,
questions on
thank you.
deliveries?
This
I'm
is the
sorry.
first time I know.
Taking a lot of time.
And I think everyone else needs to know what's happening too. You
So,
don't-
we really need, so right now, the pantry, under the volunteers' assumption, even though I see different things everywhere I look,
Yeah.
the volunteers' assumption is the pantry is open for people to come in between 12 and 4 on Wednesdays, right? That's our assumption. We staff it, we're here, we give out food. I think probably it would be better to have volunteers come in at 12, not open the pantry. I guess what I'm saying is not open the pantry until maybe 1:30 or 2 for people to walk in. Have volunteers there to staff and to do the putting of the, like, don't come until 12:15. Put the food away. Get the deliveries. Linda, you think,
I'm not quite sure
okay, what do you think? Because you're there a lot.
I think we should still come in at noon. I mean,
Okay.
because he could come by
Well, he'd come-
12:15
yeah.
and we're just opening
That's
the
true.
door.
Yeah.
I don't like
So
the
still come
pressure.
at 12.
I'd rather come at 12
Okay.
personally.
So 2 people at 12?
I
to
think
2?
one at 12, that 12 person could stay to, I end up staying till 2:30 anyway.
Yeah.
So 12 to 2:30, and then 12:30 to, I can't do 12:30 to 4. You need 2 people at that,
You do.
you need 2.
You absolutely do.
And
Right.
it depends on how much
But
time they want to
Yeah,
stay.
and I think if we had the drivers come in at 1:30 though, to pick up their deliveries, that way it would get
Yeah, they're
It's-
gone, they're
it gets
gone, and
very
then it gives
busy.
you more room for people to come
That's
in
right, so
and
public could
research.
come in
Right,
starting at 2.
right.
What do you
Well,
think?
even 1:30.
Even 1:30.
Yeah,
As long as we've got those
Okay,
bags.
that's right, the bags
out.
are done.
As long as the bags are ready and we know the people that have
Yeah.
ordered have their food items.
Right.
1:30 to 4?
How many people come,
On a Wednesday.
well, people come on the Wednesday, but how many people come after 3:30?
Not many.
Yeah, because I usually,
Sometimes they do,
Have you
though.
seen them? I haven't, but if we change the hours and it's well-known, maybe they,
But also realize this newsletter's not going to be mailed, and they're used to 4.
right.
Just,
And is 2 hours enough
So-
time?
so
I
we
mean,
make an informed decision.
well, I just don't like to have anyone work a longer than a 3-hour shift. I think 3
I
hours.
think 3 hours is
And
a
if we
good
do
amount.
12:30, if we have 12:30 to 4, that's going to be 3.5 hours for someone. So I would say
12:30 to 3:30? So 12 to 2:30, and then 12:30 to 3:30 on Wednesday for volunteers.
right, and the pantry will be 1:30 to 3:30.
1:30 to 3:30 for walk-ins.
Right.
Yeah, okay, I like that.
Yeah, I like
And now,
that too.
I think we have way too many hours on Thursday.
On Thursday, I do
I
too.
agree.
Really, 9 to 3?
It's too much.
It is too much.
But we want to make sure that nothing in the newsletter tells people they have to make appointments.
No, no,
Correct.
no appointment.
Right,
And we also should make, last week when I was here, I took down, there's been a sign outside of the pantry door that had the old hours that were when Maria was here.
oh,
I'm like, okay, can we at least not have bad information?
Just not put the sign out.
I know.
yeah, it's.
Until
it's
we
been
have a good
confusing.
sign.
Until we have good hours
Yeah.
and set hours,
So, yeah, so I think honestly,
I like-
what do
I
you guys
like
think?
that.
What about 10 to 2 on Thursday, which is what it used to be when Maria worked? If we did 10 to 2 on Thursday? Do you think that's enough time? Or 9 to 2?
I'm wondering about making it a little later in the afternoon in case somebody's on a working schedule and trying to come in. I don't know.
but sometimes if they're on a working
anyone-
schedule, they work till 5 anyway,
Also,
I think.
chef comes in, traveling chef comes in one Thursday a month, and there are some people who come in and pick it up, and there are times they come in just at 3.
However, and let me just, traveling chef is not a pantry function. If someone were to come in to pick up their traveling chef, I don't see why Nisha cannot go and
Well, that's a
unlock the
good
pantry
point. Good point,
and
yes.
take it out and give it
Right,
to
because
them.
it's
Yes.
already set.
It's not a pantry function.
You're right. Okay.
It's, if we're there, we're happy to do it,
I
but.
agree with that. Okay. So what do you think?
Well,
10 to 2?
I mean, we can do, I think 9 to 3 is long, just because we don't have that many people on Thursday. Last Thursday, I did 9 to 12, and I had 4 people. And I don't know about 12, I didn't look, I don't know what 12 to 3 was on Thursday last week. I think Candy worked, and I don't know how many she,
I'll be there tomorrow
Served.
morning, so.
so,
But I've been in the morning, and you might possibly get one.
yeah, I mean, I was excited to get 4.
Yeah.
Oh, Linda,
And
you were there last Thursday afternoon because you covered for
No,
me.
Well,
no,
no,
then
because-
Candy covered for,
Candy covered for me.
Okay.
So we do need more
So
people
we
to
do
work
need,
the
that's
pantry.
another proof
It's
that we
only
do
4
need
people.
yes.
more people than 4.
So what, are we comfortable
Although Gail
with-
has been saying she
Gail's
would
coming today.
fill in too,
Gail's
so.
covering for Candy today.
Oh, okay, so that's good, yeah. I think she's pretty comfortable now doing it.
Well, and I'm coming in today too.
Oh,
this
you are?
afternoon.
Yeah, I'm tomorrow.
I'm scheduled for this afternoon.
Oh,
Well, I signed up for this afternoon.
didn't Candy ask Gail to come today?
She
'Cause
did.
she's- oh,
She's
well.
planning to come.
Well, good, we'll have plenty of people. Wednesday's.
Well, for Gail's first time too, it's great
Good,
if
yeah.
there's overlap, because it's nice to have some observation time and
She's observant.
Question and answer.
It's not like you're getting paid and we're like,
I know.
you know,
I'm
like,
not-
oh,
I'm
that's
certainly
too
not
many
double
people.
dipping. So what do we want to do for Thursday hours, so we move this along a little bit? I mean, I don't,
What did you say? I
well, I
like,
don't know, we could either do 10 to 2, we could do 9:30 to 2:30, if that makes people happier. Right now, it's 9 to 3, which I think is too much.
I do too.
10, if we did 10 to 2:30, how many hours is that?
4.5.
4.5.
Or do you need two people on at all times?
No, we do not.
So
No,
10:30
not on
So
Thursday.
10:30 to 2:30, that's 2 hours, 2 hours. 10:30 to 2:30.
That might work.
Does that work?
Yeah, that sounds good.
We'd be trying that for May and June?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to get to something we could just keep with, but,
Yeah.
I know.
Now, I have a question.
though, I mean, I think, I don't know, yeah. 10:30 to 2:30, 10 to 2, it doesn't really matter.
So what, on Mondays and Tuesdays, if I needed to come in for food?
Maureen's there. She'll
It
get
doesn't
in.
have to be only on Wednesdays and Thursdays.
No.
Anyone can come Monday through Thursday at these designated times.
Well, Monday through Tuesday, it's really just if someone comes in and Maureen's there. I mean, the pantry is
Right.
technically not open. Maureen is
Okay.
in there, and
Okay,
if she
but if
finds,
she's out as van driver, then
then there's no.
Then it's closed.
nobody.
Because our technical open hours are Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Right. So they would need to call and see if there
Call.
is somebody there, if they needed it on Monday, Tuesday,
Or Friday
or
morning.
Friday morning.
Right.
And
But
it would
we-
only be till noon on Friday because
And-
town hall closes.
Yeah, well, we can't staff for
Let's
that.
not even say anything
We don't
about
wanna put
Friday.
that in the
Fridays.
news.
No, well, I'm just for the public, so they know, like, it's like, well, gee, I can't do Wednesday, I can't do
Monday and
Thursday.
Tuesday from 8 to what?
Yeah, but we don't want to say that the
But-
pantry's
But
open.
call this number first.
Yes.
Now
to
you
be
make
sure-
another
I
appointment.
think we just say, the pantry is open,
Do you know
these
what I mean?
hours on Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay.
If you need food at another time,
Call,
call the outreach office.
outreach office.
To see if we can
I would
accommodate
leave it
them.
at that, too.
Okay, yeah,
Okay, you have that down for the newsletter? Good.
yes.
And
Whew.
what did we decide our Wednesday hours were? Same? I forgot.
12 to 2:30
Wednesday
and
1:30
12:30 to 3:30.
Right, those, yeah, so the pantry will actually open for people 1:30 to 3:30.
And then the overlap would be, yeah, 1:30 to
The
3:30.
shifts will be
Right.
12 to 2:30 and 12:30 to 3:30, right?
Yes.
Okay. Because I have to send out the new shifts for May and June, that's why.
Right.
Wait, when will the pantry be open? From
1:30 to
Oh,
3:30.
1:30 to 3:30.
On Wednesdays.
Okay.
And then 10:30 to 2:30 on Thursdays.
I just hope that's not,
Well, and then we can collect the data and observations from Nisha. How often is she being interrupted in?
On other days.
During other hours? And that might indicate a need to expand or shift.
I'm just debating on whether, I kind of feel like I've seen more people come on Thursday mornings than Thursday afternoons.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, when I've been there, I haven't seen
Anybody hardly on
and I've
Thursdays.
been
I know,
on shift,
Thursdays,
so
it's hard to tell.
it is
Yeah.
hard to tell, but a very few. I've probably
Well,
seen.
do you want to do 9:30 to 2:30?
That's what I'm thinking.
And then the two shifts would be 2.5 hours each, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do 9:30
Okay.
to 2:30.
And then the shifts would be,
2.5
9:30 to noon and noon to 2:30.
Okay.
Right?
yes. Got it.
All right.
If you find that you still need more volunteers, I'd be happy to learn the ropes and jump in.
Cool, get your Cory done.
Okay,
Yeah.
get my Cory done.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
You need a Cory.
I think we all.
Especially
need it
going
when
into the
I
summer.
first started.
We are
We're all
virtual.
quarried as part of.
well,
We
even if you're, they're even if they're on call, you know what I mean? Even if they're our
Right.
backup.
Right.
And done some
And
training.
then, right, knowing that, okay, I can't make it, let's call.
So in order to work in the pantry, you need to be quarried
Correct.
and
And
come
then
for a
someone-
training.
And someone needs to let me know that they've gotten their Cory back.
Oh, yes.
Because otherwise, I don't know that, and people are waiting for me to reach out to them, and I have no idea that they've been quarried, so I can't put them on the, send them the schedule to sign up.
Okay.
I have a
Good.
question. If a person has been quarried in the past,
No, you have to
No,
have
you
it
have
done
to do
through the
it again.
town. It only lasts for a certain.
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
you go in to see the town clerk, right?
Okay, so we have that responsibilities.
Oh,
No,
So
collector of taxes.
my
I know.
question on responsibilities was really what you were talking about before, is what do the pantry people do when Nisha's not there? I mean, if it's only her lunch hour, then I'm not that worried because someone can leave a message. and we're still there afterwards if it is someone. But when there's no one on staff, what do the pantry volunteers do? Again, it's how do we get people funneled to the food pantry? Can that be on the answering machine somehow when they call? Because they must get a message when you call and no one picks up the
And
phone.
that's something I was thinking after having Nisha on vacation. She has quite a number of vacation days coming up, too.
I'm sure she
I
does.
have them all if you want to see them.
Oh.
And could she change the message on the answer machine to,
Right. I
I'm
am,
away from the office, please contact outreach worker, or, at this number, or if you're in need of food,
if you need the
or,
food,
or
yeah.
some, whatever she would need to distribute.
And I
If
don't
this-
know the-
Like, not if this is an emergency, but,
right, but, and I don't know the town hall phone
Did
system.
that, evidently not, right? I don't know.
Say that again?
I had the impression that that was done, because I asked her what we do about the phone
Yeah.
when we're volunteering, and she said, it's fine. So I never
And-
answered it.
And that, this whole new phone system, they've been having a lot of issues
Okay.
with it across all departments.
Okay.
So, yeah, but we do need to get that message out, that if you need the pantry or the outreach, there's
Yeah.
a specific number to call.
Again, I don't know, but again, that's difficult. Remember, the
Because we're not
population.
outreach workers.
And plus, with the population that we're dealing with, for them to have to write down, 556, blah, 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 it would be nice if there was a thing, press, and I don't know if the town hall phone system is capable of that. Is there a way that if you want the food pantry, press 1? That's a heck of a lot easier for
For
someone that's.
some reason, I thought there was a transfer.
That would be great. So then why can't, I don't know.
Like, I think Nisha can transfer from.
Well, she
if
can transfer if she
the
answers,
phone.
right.
Right, and transfer to,
Right.
yeah.
But it would be nice if you didn't
know.
have to have some person
Redial.
that may be already having difficulty,
Right, and now I
have
have
to
do
now
what?
grab a pen, write down the phone number.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a way to do that, but it would be. Yeah.
Now, when you get orders for food, do most of the people ordering come through that number? Or is it, Nisha will say, so-and-so, send you an email?
No, they usually, most people, there are regulars,
Right,
know to talk to Maureen on Monday or Tuesday.
okay.
And
okay.
Maureen frequently reaches out to the regulars to say, hey, it's Tuesday, did you want anything from the pantry?
Okay,
The woman that I spoke with last week, when I answered the ringing phone, is not someone that I have ever delivered to before.
she's not a regular,
She may have recently started being someone that's delivered to.
right,
So I didn't really, you
But-
know,
yeah,
know her. So I don't know,
the dynamics of that,
right,
right. Well, lots of things going on.
I know.
So, again, I'm going to put it out there for anyone that's listening, please, we need pantry volunteers, and, the other thing is, hey, if we got a lot of volunteers, we could be open more days.
So I have another actual kind of question that ties back to the whole issue of what we do when Nisha's not here until we're fully staffed. Should there be a way, and I mean, the board is already doing more than any of us ever expected that we would be doing in these roles, but should there be a way that someone is able to access the voicemails on Nisha's vacation days in case there is a crisis? Or is that a liability that we shouldn't have?
Very good question.
I mean, it would be great if we could figure out how to make the phone system work better,
Mm-hmm.
but, I mean, it's a long time. If Maureen's not here after, 4 o'clock on Tuesday and Nisha's out on vacation the
The
whole,
rest of the week, that's until the following Monday.
right, or this week.
And then this week,
Week
then
is
it
a
was
holiday.
So it was
Which I didn't
almost a-
realize is I'm telling people, she's on vacation this week.
Right.
I can leave her a message, which is why I sent the email, on the off chance that someone might have read it, but.
I mean,
Deb, what kind of crisis
I
are
don't
you
know.
thinking of?
I don't
Because
know.
I think if there was a medical crisis, people
Well, they would know enough to
would
do that,
know
yeah.
to do 911,
So probably there isn't any,
Well, people
just-
calling for medical appointments.
like
the
NEAT
van.
driver, like a
Oh, a
woman.
NEAT driver,
The woman
yeah.
that needed to know if she had a ride this Wednesday to Medford for some appointment that she's waited 8 months for.
That's
I mean,
true, yeah,
Yeah,
the
you want
drivers.
to her, that's a crisis.
Yeah,
Yes, it
that's
is,
a crisis,
indeed.
yeah, you
Yeah.
want the security that you've got it all set up.
So is
No.
there another number to call?
I don't know, or we need something, we need better, we need a better cheat sheet.
We need more staff.
We need more staff, yeah. I
Well, the
mean, that's-
van, we have the van driver's cell phone number.
Which
but-
I did, I called Frank, but Frank doesn't have access to NEAT.
Oh, to NEAT, but he has access to my senior center.
Yes,
Yeah.
but he does not, because I asked him, I said, do you have, can you like check it with NEAT in any way? And Frank doesn't have access to that. And I didn't have a phone number that was
Right,
anything
right.
other than how to volunteer to drive.
I will look into how to coordinate the NEAT when we have no staff. 'Cause I do NEAT driving and I
Oh,
will.
you're one of
I'll-
the drivers.
Yeah, so I'll contact, work through Nisha and find out what we can do on those days when the COA office is not staffed and people need to make appointments.
Now I wonder, if Nisha's not here, can someone call the NEAT office directly?
I'm sure that's what will happen.
And they
Yeah.
can. I mean, I know that people that use NEAT, that are currently a NEAT customer, have a phone number, because if they need to
Right.
cancel or something. This
Right.
woman that called
First time user.
hadn't, well, I don't know, but she had asked for 2 rides. She'd had 1 ride confirmed. She didn't have the second ride confirmed. She couldn't find the NEAT phone number. I couldn't help her.
So it's just a matter of having that phone number.
Or having that phone number, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Or at least, but then, if I hadn't answered the phone, I wouldn't have even known, and she was gonna go look, and she never, well, I don't know if she called back. She
And I
didn't
do
call back
think
when I was
that
there.
other towns really are not the interceptor, is that the word I'm looking for? Maybe not interceptor, but the go-between as the COA. They call directly to NEAT and make their appointments. Other towns do that.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Towns that don't have vans and all of that, all they have is NEAT. So they don't go through their director or assistant, or outreach worker, they go
They just
directly to
directly.
NEAT. So I don't know if that's something that should happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, this is my understanding, I shouldn't say that's directly
Yeah.
what happens, but, yeah, so there's basically, phone issues and also what do we do where we are so understaffed on, and even if, I can come in and sit at the desk, I'm not going to be able to handle any of that stuff except take messages.
Right.
Right.
We're not
Or any of
qualified
us,
for
if
that.
we volunteer, while Nisha's on vacation, we'll cover the phones. Well,
No.
I am not a COA director. I do not have.
No.
And that's probably a liability that the town
that's a-
wouldn't,
Exactly.
want-
Even though I'm quarried and,
Yeah, but they wouldn't-
confidentiality. Oh, speaking of which, yeah.
we're not
We're gonna talk
trained
about that.
to do this.
No, no. So, okay, that will be something we further investigate with Nisha and with the town as to how can the phone, and during vacation times, because she does have a number of days coming up in May and June that she will be out. Okay,
Yeah,
next.
probably if we could get those in advance, that would be really good.
Yeah, I have them.
Yeah.
I'll send them. I didn't want to,
Right.
have it all now. And it's not something we're going to post in the newsletter.
Yeah.
Again, we've already talked about outreach and van driver applications. Textile bin, that's just on hold, I guess. I believe it's up to the town to go ahead and, if we agree to go and change the textile bin from the present company to a different company. I believe what I heard was that we could have the new bin be put at the same location, because that is on town property. I don't know the contact person. I don't even know if Nisha knows the contact person of the present company. See, the Friends did not seem to know anything about it. It's just money that's been coming in. Are you?
Well, they weren't at the last meeting, they didn't show, so.
Right. So I think
Only been
that's a
to one.
conversation that
Yeah.
if we decide to go ahead and do this, I mean, it is more money that will be coming in. For every pound, you get more, a little bit more money. And from, you know, it's a no-brainer. Why not? It's, you know, people know it's there. It's right up across, you know, behind the police station. I think that would be something that we go about getting through the town administrator. So if you'd like, I could check with that, into that. Okay. And, okay, next, I have not heard anything about the Groveland Municipal Stakeholder Committee since last time. And any other old business?
Deb and I, it's about.
New business. This is the time that we will, unfortunately, and with, oh,
I have an other.
yes, oh, I just said that. No, we said,
Hear that. Just a reminder that the ethics certifications
Oh,
need to
thank
be
you.
completed. I believe I saw the date, May 17th.
right. And also, have you all done this privacy and confidentiality agreement?
Yeah, right.
I think, Barbara, have you signed it? Nisha didn't think you got that,
No.
but everyone else did. It's 2 pages. It's basically something that they always did for the COA, and it kind of got lapsed because, you know, we haven't had a director. And Nisha's like, oh, yeah. It just, anybody that has anything to do with the COA, any volunteer, including the board, saying that we, you know, confidentiality, we, you know,
It's important.
so if you can fill that out, and she keeps a folder, every year we'll have to be signing this.
I'll do it today.
But, yep, do it today. Thank you. And thank you for the ethics training. Yeah, it's a whole new thing, even if you just did it in November, you've got to do it again. Okay? Did you do?
Did you do it?
So, it had to be done, I thought it was supposed to be done by the end of March, but you say it's a new date now?
I think Beth sent out the email with the link to all of us on February 27th,
Yeah, around February 17th, 27th.
something like that.
Yeah.
I'll have to
It
look
was
for
in
that.
February.
Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't get it either, so I had to ask Beth
Oh,
directly
I
for it,
don't
because other
remember
people
getting
had
it.
talked about it, so.
ethics.
Marie, you could probably just stop by, you know, at the town clerk's office after this and say, could you resend it? And give her your email, and she could resend it to you. And then you do it, you've done it before, the ethics training, you know, and then I have a question. Did we have to print it out? From my understanding, it was, there it is.
Her
Once you do
email
it.
said that once it was
Once
done,
it's
she would be
done.
notified that it was
Okay.
done through a
Print it
portal.
But then
But it
somebody
is a
else
bit
said
of
they
a-
had the printed notice, and I'm like, that
Right,
was
you don't
from
have to do that now,
before.
but it is a bit of a challenge, because it says right on the site, when you go in, you create your username and your ID,
Mm-hmm.
and then it says ideally you should use a Chrome browser,
and I don't
because
have
it didn't
Chrome.
work on my iPad or my iPhone, because that's
Oh.
Safari, and Linda found the same thing, so I used my Chromebook. She ended up having to come over to use my Chromebook, because it wouldn't work on any other type of a browser, so that was a bit of an
You're right,
issue.
and I had to download Chrome.
You what?
I had to download the Chrome application. Is that what it's called, Chrome
But I only have an
application?
iPad,
Whatever.
I don't have a computer.
We could
so
do it
I-
on
Or
this
not,
computer.
whatever it was, a different one. I don't know what I'm talking about, never mind.
It takes about a little over an hour.
Oh, I probably can't do it in the pantry then, all right.
Right, okay.
About an hour, an hour.
So now is the time, under new business, that we,
Laurel?
oh,
Sorry.
More?
Just going back for 1 second to other old business. When the Finance Subcommittee, Deb, Laurel, and I had our meeting with Rebecca and Eileen regarding both the FY23 and the FY24 budgets, we had requested that there be some line item transfers done, because there is excess money this year in the director's salary. We had requested a couple of line item transfers, specifically into the 2 accounts that are very low, the expenses and
Dan.
the van. And that, both of the, and the other request was to pay the portion of Nisha's salary that comes from the formula grant for the balance of FY23, have that be paid out of the excess money in the director's salary line, so that we can use that money to shore up the formula grant for next year in case there's cuts. That was met with full support by the both of them, but it was only verbal, and I when I'm looking at this expense report, it doesn't appear that those have been done, or that Nisha's salary is now coming out, there's no longer any money coming out of the formula grant for her salary. So I'm wondering if we should follow up with Rebecca and/or Ellen. Is there paperwork that's required to make that happen? All we did was verbal so far with them.
So
They supported it, but is it happening, and how do we make it
Let's see,
happen?
wait a minute. Thank you.
So you met with them before
I thought
the dates of this printout?
Yeah, because the last one for expenses, let's see, formula grant, posted April 13th for the 2 weeks ending March 23rd. And yeah, we met with them.
when did we meet that? That's what I'm looking up.
Of course, I can't find my paperwork where we requested all that, the date that we actually had the meeting. But I just wondering if we should follow up with them, all of us, or just one of us, to go in and follow up and say, is this happening? If not, do we do paperwork? How do we make this happen?
Thank you for noticing.
March 31st.
Was it March 31st is when we met?
Yeah. Well, that's the date of the
Okay.
printout.
All right, so the 2 weeks ending, this is the last one, is 2 weeks ending 3/23. So if you want, I mean, I'll just run in and say,
Make sure
is
that's
this,
happening,
is this
yeah.
going to happen?
Because the
as-
printout was from March 31st,
This one?
the one that she gave us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm
When
trying
we
to
met
see
with her.
when
So
did we...
I can't remember if we actually met with her on March 31st, but that's the date of the printout that we had in
Okay,
that
I
meeting.
think it was, or the next day, one or the other. Of course, I can't find that. All right, I'd be happy to just go in and say,
That would be good.
do we need to do any
Oh, So
paperwork?
we
or is this-
met on March 11th.
Oh, then why does it say March 31st on my printout?
That's the
correct?
reason I can't, paperwork, I
This
can't
is
the
find.
11th.
March 31st, 8:01. Huh.
Oh, wait, did I say, no, wait a minute. We met with her on March 31st. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Where did I get the 11th? Oh, my goodness.
All right, I'll follow up and just make sure
Yeah.
that's going to happen.
Okay, so do you, after the meeting, do you want to, I'll go with you?
Sure.
Okay. We'll do that and check. Thank you. Thank you for catching that. That's why I have financial people on this.
Yes, March 31st is when we did meet with her,
Right.
Okay, thank you.
because I came running from my shingles vaccine.
Transfer. Okay. Now, any other old business? Okay, so new business. Regretfully, it's the time to accept Sean Cass's resignation. You know, was really keeping my fingers crossed that we wouldn't have to be doing this. But Larry, you have had conversations, so if you want to fill us in.
Sure. I had a number of discussions with Sean over the phone and in person prior to March 31st, which was his initial
Last day.
2 weeks' notice for resigning. And the issues that he was concerned about, that he felt made it, would make it very difficult for him to perform as the COA director, he felt were not resolvable. So we are to accept his resignation. I did inform him after the 31st that I had not heard from him, and he confirmed that his resignation is final. So we will, with regret, accept this resignation and then move on to pursue a new director. And in our audience here are two of the people that helped us last time in our search. And, you know, I think that we want to put some thought into how we word the job posting. because anyone who does look into the history of the director in the last year will be hesitant to apply. One of the things that I thought about and had discussions about is, do we look, in addition to replacing the director full-time, do we put in the posting that we would also consider someone on an interim basis to kind of bridge us to a director. We did have Lynn Stanton do that, so there is a precedent for that. And what I was thinking is, as I saw, Sean performing his job as the director, I realized how many similarities there are to a school administrator's position. A lot of the responsibilities are very similar, just that the client, instead of being school-aged, is beyond school, maybe. And I know that there are a number of educators, principals who have finished their career, maybe not ready to stop working. And I think that could, no, I'm not looking for a job, no, not me. But I understand, that there are similarities to the jobs, and it might be something that we look into someone who has recently retired as a school principal, but is not wanting to take on a full-time job, that we, and I'll work with my esteemed colleague on the personnel board to come up with some wording on how to phrase the posting of the position, that we might draw in somebody from maybe with not a COA background,
But a director.
but somebody that has the administrative skills that we'd be looking for.
That's a very good idea. So you will work on the job posting, and we also talked about
That's a worthy idea.
the position descriptions from the Collins Center,
Mhm.
pulling from that as,
That, as I understand, I still am unclear whether or not we have to formally accept
Their descriptions.
Their description. I think that, the town has spent a lot of money to have the study done. The new director's salary is based on the Collins
perform, their
job description.
description.
Maybe it would be good to take a formal vote and accept that as the job description for the director.
Well, I believe also that when the Collins Center's job descriptions came out, it was last summer, they, to the different department heads were given those descriptions and asked, are there any changes that you see? And same for the assistant director. And there were a little bit of editing or whatever done at that point. So I don't know if that is a position, that job responsibility or job description, if we go by that one or the one that the Collins sent. I think the town administrator had asked each department, I may be wrong on this, but I think she had asked each department head to look through and say, do you agree with this? Is there anything that you do differently, or, you don't do this? And they tweaked it to what is what they do. And I don't know if that is what is being accepted, if it's been accepted as a personnel policy in town, or, as part of the personnel policy, I do not know. So that's something that may, we may want to check into.
The personnel subcommittee will also check into that.
Right, that may be something, because I don't know if it's the actual Collins Center says this, or if it's the edited or adapted one that,
We want the most up-to-date.
right. So you will work
Yes.
on it, okay.
So with that, I make a motion to accept with regret Sean Cass's resignation letter.
Second?
Any discussion? Any further discussion?
Not necessarily to do with accepting his resignation, but the problem that caused the resignation, the situation that caused his resignation. We addressed that in our last meeting and said, yes, we fully are aware that there is a problem here. We know the director's side of what happened, but no one has had any discussion with the other two people involved. And before we move forward fully with a new search, are we going to be putting a new director in the same type of environment that has caused these resignations? I think that someone, whether it's the personnel subcommittee or anybody on the board or willing to do it, to go in and have discussions with the other two people who were involved and say, what's your, what happened? What do you perceive as an issue here? And we need to have some kind of a discussion about that so that going forward, we don't find ourselves in the same position over and over and over again.
Or
Any-
if we, are you done?
Yep.
I don't want to interrupt if you're, sorry.
That's all right, thank you.
Or, there might be the advantage of clarity in that, or there might be the disadvantage of muddled confusion in that, if we go back and talk about the past. Maybe we could talk with one or both of the people involved and talk about moving forward. What kind of actions happen in the future? For example, if a COA staff member is called into a meeting with the town administrator, is it possible, is it right for somebody from the COA board to go into the meeting with that person, or the personnel committee go in with that person? Some kind of actions for the future to prevent issues happening that can't be resolved easily.
Well, I think because the director is a employee of the town, that we have to be careful in terms of, the town administrator and other boards in the town need to interact, and we don't need necessarily to be a part of 99% of those
Right,
interactions.
right.
The way I look at it, with the advent of the town government operating with a town administrator, which is a fairly new position, that the responsibilities and duties and processes that happen are still being developed. So I think of our role as the board is to advocate on behalf of our employees. Now, we were not invited to the meeting that resulted in Sean's resignation. And we could have, or maybe it wasn't appropriate. We don't really know the circumstances. So we'd have to, part of the meetings that we would have would be to define what our role as the board is. It's kind of a unique situation, maybe not unique because it's similar to what the library would do in terms of we are responsible for hiring and supervising and evaluating our employees, but we're also there to support them in a very constructive way. I think that, had we been invited to that meeting, that maybe we could have avoided the situation we're in. And I think that's the ultimate goal. How we get there is kind of nebulous at this point, so we do have to have some discussions. And I think the appropriate body for that is the Personnel Committee. So that's the way I would like to move forward with it. We can certainly have some discussions when the new hiring committee meets in terms of how we address this in the interview and process, because if we do get a candidate, we want to be able to answer any questions they have in terms of what their circumstances might be in terms of coming in here as an employee.
Good
I
points.
think the biggest issue is that none of us know exactly what was said in that meeting.
Right. And I'm not sure we ever.
We
I don't
won't.
think we necessarily need to know what happened in the meeting. Instead, it's more of a, what could have been done to prevent the outcome.
Right, but unfortunately, because none of us know what was said in that meeting, I don't know how I think it's a big, the perception is, at this point, almost more important, sadly, than the reality. And the perception in the town right now is not positive. I don't know how we appropriately address that, but I think it needs to be appropriately addressed because, and I'm sure everyone here has gotten questions about it
Many.
that we're not able to answer. We shouldn't be answering a lot of them, but the perception right now is not positive.
No.
And
In what way? How do you?
the perception is, frankly, from what I have heard from people, is that, again, perception from people, is that we're incapable of keeping a director.
What is the board doing? What is
What
the board doing to have
and
people walk
why
out the door?
can't you keep a director?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you people, and why can't you keep a director?
Yep.
And,
Well, that's a shame.
yes, it is.
Yes, it's coming on us.
And I don't know how anyone that comes in, because anyone that comes in to interview for a job is going to do their own due diligence. I mean, that's one of the first questions you ask is, oh, why did the person, is this a new position?
Right.
Why did the person leave? Well, why did the person before that leave? Why did the person before? Perception is a big
What are
thing.
you doing?
And I think we need to wrap our heads around that, and I don't know how, because I probably know less about what happened than anyone, because I have not had any of the discussions. I don't really want to know, but somehow the perception out there is not positive. And I don't know how we change that.
Yeah. I think part of the problem is, it, to my mind, is a workplace issue. None of us are here on a daily basis.
Right.
This is not our workplace. So our ability to affect any resolution is fairly limited. I mean, when you look at our, the bylaws, it's pretty clear in some ways, but also very broad and open in other ways. And when you look at the job description, say, of the town administrator, there is some lack of clarity as to, whose responsibilities are, where do the responsibilities lie. Different from other town employees, but, as I said, similar to maybe the library.
The library,
and where they have a separate board. So I think that there are some clarifications we can make internally, but, I don't know how we answer that question of, where does the blame lie?
Well, I don't think, I'm not trying to figure out, I don't think that needs, I'm not trying to assign blame. I
Or
mean,
reassign it.
every conflict I've ever seen anywhere, there's two sides.
Always, absolutely.
So I'm not ready to, I don't know, I wasn't there. I'm not ready to assign, I don't think we need to assign blame. I think what we need to do is remember what our mission is. And by not having a fully staffed council on aging consistently, we're not able to fully do that mission. And we're trying our best to piece it together and keep things going. But my concern is that, again, the perception. And I don't have a good idea of how to address that, but I think it's going to be an issue in the search process. I don't see how it can't be.
Larry, you just said that we could consider or there, maybe we should consider some internal clarifications.
Mhm.
Can you say more about that? For example,
I can't really say without getting into the
Okay.
whole question of confidentiality,
okay,
and the role of mandated reporter.
mm-hmm,
And, you know, you know, I don't think that, I think this is more of a one-to-one meeting with the parties involved.
yes, okay. And I kept thinking about the mandated reporter piece, having worked in environments where that happened. And I was thinking that perhaps the only other board that would end up or having to deal with an issue related to mandated reporting might be the library.
Schools.
And the schools for sure.
Schools, for sure.
But the only other non-school board might be the library. Although maybe it hasn't come up in that situation or that location. But maybe that's where we need, so perhaps that's where we need some of the internal clarifications. Okay, thank you.
Anything else? So we do need to take a vote on accepting his resignation. I will, well, we'll take the vote first. So do I have a motion?
The motion's been made.
Okay, motion's been made.
I don't think it's been seconded.
I'll
Has it?
second it.
Okay. Do we say all in favor? But all who will accept Sean Gass's resignation, can't say favor, say
With
aye.
regret.
Aye.
Aye.
With regret.
With regret, aye.
With an aye.
Opposed?
Opposed? Okay,
It's still.
you're still trying. I
Still
know,
trying.
I know. So I will let the Board of Selectmen know that we have done so that they can officially announce it. Okay, let me just write this. All right. And that the Personnel Committee will try to meet with the town administrator and anyone else who was involved.
I'm sorry, Laura, I'm not hearing you.
And that
What
the
did you
the
just say?
Personnel Committee will, or Subcommittee, will try to get a meeting with the town administrator and anyone else who was involved with the situation, and to have a conversation.
Well, it might be, we might make progress just with the town administrator.
Okay, I don't know, I think Larry was saying, and the other person involved. I would think it's really, yeah,
Why don't we try that as a first step and then reconsider what we might need to do?
All right. Next, we have performance evaluation process. Oh, well, no, before, can I just step back? Sorry. So you're going to re-up or not re-up, but now go forward and actually start meeting with, well, we post. You don't need to have a meeting yet for the subcommittee,
Right, with the hiring committee?
hierarchy, the director search committee.
Yeah, and I think until we get applicants.
Applicants,
there's no-
okay.
There's no reason to meet. We have,
But they have all been informed and
The
are
last-
ready to serve.
the last meeting we had, we appointed the
Appointed them,
committee,
yeah.
and they have been notified.
Okay, thank you. Okay, performance evaluation process. Sorry, who was working on that? Was I supposed to be?
Well, I put this in because we had a director who was going to be doing the performance evaluations for the rest of the COA staff when we last met in March, and now we don't have that, anyone in that position. So what happens now?
Well, when I asked Nisha when I read the town's bylaws, not bylaws, maybe it was the personnel procedure, one of those documents, it said that employees should be evaluated on a yearly basis by December of the year. So in December, I asked Nisha, is there a tool that, you've been evaluated with in the past? And she said, I've never had anything done. So I don't know. So I don't know if it's something going forward. I mean, I feel it should happen, and typically it would be the director who would be evaluating the employees of the COA, under the director. So assistant director, outreach worker, van driver. But I don't know if it's ever been done in the past. And do we step up and do this as a board, or do we wait until there's a director on board?
I don't think you can wait till there's a new director on board. We have no idea when that's going to be. And
I know, but
people should have a performance evaluation.
what I'm saying is I don't think it's ever been done before.
But I think that maybe this is a new thing the town is doing, now that we do have a more professional
Right.
administration in place. I'm guessing that it probably wasn't done.
No.
But now with the Collins Center and with, I'm guessing that maybe there is. Perhaps this is a question
And
that
I
we
know-
should ask the town administrator, is there a tool?
She is working on a tool for
Right.
across the town, but I think that's only for the department heads. I may be wrong. And then, under the department heads, and then, so we had discussed this. When Sean was here, he was, like, well, are you going to do one separately from, who's going to do this performance evaluation, at his, it would have been his 6-month anniversary. And we kind of said, well, if the one from the town is ready, we could use that, as well as, it would be the personnel subcommittee, something that would be, that we could create or come up with that would address more specific things that the director of the COA should be evaluated on, not a general thing like you're the same as the police chief, as the library director, as the,
Right. I mean, yeah.
department heads.
It should
So-
be based on the job description.
On the job
Any
description, right.
specific goals that are
right.
set. I mean, most performance
So-
evaluations, you also set goals for the coming year.
Yes.
And you,
And we also in the past, what we've done is, I have done, I should say, when I was evaluating employees, I gave them an opportunity to look through the same things.
Right.
Evaluate
Absolutely.
themselves, and what goals would they like to set for themselves,
Right.
and then we have a meeting. So, I think according to the policies that I read, or the manual, it was by December. It was not done this past year. Do we wait until December and come up with something? Because there is no tool right now for outreach, Nisha, van driver. There's no tool,
Except there are job descriptions, which could
which we
certainly be
could go
the
through.
tools.
Right. So I think what we need to do is come up with a tool, create a tool, and have it done by, or an evaluation form. And I think we could wait till December to have it done, but have it,
In place.
Start the process.
and start the process now to get it ready, and then have it done, and every December, that's what we do. Or it could be, what I know at the library, we've been trying to do it so that it's before the next budget meeting. So that, if it's an outstanding evaluation, before you say, well, yeah, well, according to when you prepare the budget. So it would be by December, if you had that done in December, then you start meeting about the budget for the next year, like January, February. And then, if it's an outstanding person, you may go for more than 2% or whatever, or, maybe comment on that. So I don't know.
Yeah. We can do some research into other council on agings.
What they've
So we
done.
don't have to reinvent the wheel if there's
Yeah.
already forms out there and processes out there. I think this could also fall in the realm of the personnel committee.
Yep. And then we could also, it's not just for them, but it would be also make a tool, or I'm calling it a tool,
Develop it.
for for the director, so we have that right there, ready to go. So, Personnel Committee, another job. Okay. I didn't know why that was on that, but, okay. And we did all of that. Friends of the Groveland COA update, Linda? Want to address?
But they forgot to put the date on the calendar.
Can't hear you.
I said I came for a meeting, but they didn't put the date on the calendar, so I have no update.
So no one was there. So there's no update.
I met Lisa, who's their secretary. She's quite lovely. We had a chat, but you can't do anything with two people, so.
Right, right.
Nothing took place.
I think that one of the things that when we talk about the next meeting date, with the town meeting coming up and then the election on May 1st, that'll give us some either opportunity to advertise the new positions at the higher rates, or we will be faced with, the town dealing with budget cuts pretty much across the board. It'll certainly affect the Council on Aging and what we will
God bless
be
you.
able to do going forward. One of the things that is pretty evident to me is if the budget doesn't pass, the role of the Friends is going to be even more heightened because we will need them as a revenue source to help keep programs going. The fact that they have vacancies in their president and vice president roles is, I think we're going to have to
Promote
do some
them.
recruiting to get people in those roles who have some, experience with fundraising. And, maybe that would be a key item on our next May 17th meeting. We may even want to consider having a meeting earlier than that, just to address the fallout from town meeting and from the election.
That was going to be my suggestion later. Like, I think we should, like, maybe 2 weeks, if everyone can make it, the 2 weeks before. So when would that be? 17th, 14th? Like May 3rd, by then we will know.
The results of the election.
Results,
What we
and-
won't know is what the FinCom and Selectmen are going to do
True.
in terms of budget adjustment,
Yeah, that's true.
because they'll still be dealing with the results.
Right, the results would probably not finalize, they'll have a general idea, but,
So I think maybe the 17th might be.
keep it at 17th?
Keeping it at the 17th might give us a little bit more clarity with what we're working with. And one of the hesitations I had was, how do we accommodate the new rate of pay? But, the suggestion that Deb have as putting it as a range takes that out of our, out of consideration, so.
So, yeah, we need to find out what's going on with the Friends. Like you said, there are empty positions. They need a president and a vice president. Many people will take the Friends of the Library, I'm sorry, I'm on two different boards. Friends of the Groveland Council on Aging, little Join the Friends papers, they put their money in, they send it, and there I'm joined as a member for $10. And we thank you all for that. $10 is $10. But we also need active bodies to do the fundraising and to do, what the Council on Aging Friends group does. We need you. We need people that, can, and you don't have to be a senior to be on the Friends group. So we're going to put a big blurby in there again. It's not just sending in your $10, it's being an active member.
And I do understand they're going to do the calendar again, or
Oh,
try.
you think they're going to try?
So-
That was a great fundraiser.
Yeah.
And I think you and I talked about that, like
Right.
even if they could get out there and announce it at Groveland Days and, say,
Right.
we have it for the younger families in
Talking to
town.
Lisa about that,
That's
too,
not
how
just
to
the
really
seniors.
promote that.
Right.
And they did make this new flyer, which,
Yep.
to make it more
Right.
enticing to join the Friends, but I haven't really had a chance to meet with them.
And do you know if they're having another meeting posted? She didn't say anything, yeah. I know they typically
I know
don't
they
meet in
meet
the
on-
summer.
The first Thursday, I think, at 3 o'clock of the month, but I haven't heard. I'm friendly with one of the girls, so I will reach out to Rita.
Okay.
Well, the first Thursday of the month will happen after town meeting and the election. So that might be our
That-
first
yeah.
opportunity to address going forward.
Yeah.
So
And
I'll
if,
plan to attend that meeting too. Let me
Okay.
know if there's,
I'll let you know the date once.
yeah, and let Irene know, to put it on the calendar
Yeah,
for other
y-
people?
Yes,
Yes, for the newsletter.
yes.
I'm telling. Okay. We've discussed the importance, the monthly donations. What was that, Irene? Discussion of
But
monthly
you need to
donations.
know. What's that?
Discussion of monthly
Well,
donations.
that was just, it was going to be a follow-up of Director Cass saying that we were putting more funds out than we were getting in through donations and actions that could be taken for that, but it goes along with the Friends,
I was
so.
going to
Right.
say that goes
I
along
have-
with
Yeah.
the Friends.
I know a little something about that this morning.
I can't hear you. Speak into the,
This morning, I worked with Nisha to list some donations that came in, and we deposited, can I say the amount?
yeah,
We deposited with the treasurer $420,
well, that's good.
which was received some donations and money from the last function, like for ticket sales and so forth.
Good. Every little bit
Every little bit
helps.
helps.
That's right. So, yeah, we want to let everyone know importance of town meeting. Town meeting is next Monday, the 24th, at 7 PM at Bagnell. 6:30, 7 PM? I'm not quite sure. 7, okay, thank you.
7?
Oh, I saw Irene look up, and I'm, I gave the wrong time. At 7 at Bagnell School, please attend. It would be so great if we did have more than 100 people. Yes, Irene?
Oh, I'm sure we will. So do we have just a summary of goals or important communication that we want to speak about at town meeting as a COA board?
You mean when the budget is discussed?
Yes.
We could develop something like that, yep, and why?
And we have the information on the food pantry with the amount of food going out, which might be, if any questions are raised about that, that's documented now.
Well, I think we've talked about a few ideas here. We've said how, the Friends' role is really critical. Recruiting more people, having fundraisers, the calendar as a fundraiser again, but
I don't think we want to say at town meeting that
Okay.
we're all pumped up about doing more fundraising.
okay, that's a good point. Good point.
Don't do that.
I mean,
Let's say, well, then we
we
don't
want
need to-
people to understand what the town will lose
Yes.
if this, people need to understand that. And I have not seen a heck of a lot of publicity.
I know, I haven't.
And I
The
don't.
town meeting?
Yeah.
I haven't either.
I don't know that people understand that if the override passes in Merrimack, fails in Groveland, Groveland still has to pay all the school funding, all the Pentucket funding, all the Whittier funding. And that means the town will have to cut from town services. I don't know that that is understood
No.
around the town.
Other than on
And
Facebook,
also,
Groveland
the-
Town Crier,
yeah,
there's
right.
lots of discussion about it. But other than
It's a
that,
problem.
you're right.
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, is that the importance of going to town meeting is to pass the budget, the budget as it is now, or what is being proposed, if it's not passed at town meeting, it will not go on the ballot. It
Right.
has to pass at town meeting for it to go to the ballot. So, if we don't have the people who are supporters of it attend town meeting, then once it's on the ballot, whichever way you vote, but hopefully you'll understand the importance of this for the whole town, not just the COA, not just, the library, but the entire town.
Well, I think, yeah, and I mean, the meeting that the Finance Subcommittee had with Rebecca, I found very educational. The amount of money and the way that they would have to cut it, there's just not a lot of big bucket items in town to come up with, what is it, $1,250,000?
Right.
There's not a lot of big bucket items. I don't know that that's been well communicated. I mean,
Right.
because Facebook isn't the only method of
Right.
communication.
Right, and I think it needs to be
And
put
it's-
down on Facebook somehow, because
Well,
that's where people are getting their information. Say that again?
You know, the finance committee meetings are all on TV.
I know, but like, I never watch these meetings, and I'm actually involved in town, and I haven't watched a single town meeting on TV.
Neither
I do.
have I.
If I have my TV on, I'm watching something fun, I'm not watching town meeting.
Sorry
So I
to
think there's a
say.
lot of people that don't watch.
Right.
There's a lot of people that don't go on Facebook. Unfortunately, we have like zero newspaper coverage,
Right.
and there are still people that actually read a newspaper. There's not signs.
No.
There's
I saw
not,
one sign today.
I saw one sign when I've been walking. I've seen
Right.
one sign.
But it's for support Pentucket, support the
Well, I
schools.
saw one that
It
says
doesn't
support
say-
Groveland.
No.
I
Okay,
did see one that
I
says
have not
support
seen
Groveland.
one for that.
Somewhere on my walking route, I can't remember where, but.
And I think that's the important thing, that people are focusing,
And
that it's
people-
for the school, and it's like, it's not just for the school.
No,
It's-
and people don't, I don't think people are well educated on the way that our regional agreement is written. You know?
They should,
Well,
because
they-
we've lived through this
We have
for
lived
several
through it.
rounds
Several
now.
years.
But,
We have lived through it, but
yes. And it's a given in West Newbury because they already
They
have
have
the
much money.
funds
They don't need
set
to do an
aside,
override.
so there's
Right.
no vote.
so,
I mean,
I don't
nobody
know.
wants their taxes to go up, but
No.
do you want to lose all your services?
do you want to use, and what
Or
will you
not all,
pay
but-
to recreate those services?
Exactly, right?
That's the information that should be out there, you know? Depending on what service, what will it cost you to recreate that?
So West Newbury is covered. If it fails in both Groveland and Merrimack,
Then the
it's
towns-
then it's the school's
The schools.
responsibility.
Mhm.
But if it fails in only one of them, it's that town.
Yeah, because
that
it's
it
a 2
fails-
out of
right.
3.
I
Right.
just wanted everybody to
Yes.
understand that.
Yes, if it were to fail in both Merrimack and Groveland, then the schools would have to cut their portion. There would still, however, the full amount of the override, my understanding is not just
It's not just
for the schools.
Right, it's
It's
not, and
also, so
that's.
we would have to cut, we wouldn't have to cut $1,250,000, which is what would happen if Merrimack passed. We would have to cut some portion of that, though, out of town services. And I don't know what that portion is, but I think it's fairly substantial.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
I know that one of the things that would go is the salary adjustments.
that would be
based
the
on
first thing, yes.
Collins,
Yeah, those will be gone.
the Collins study
Yes.
that brought us up to just below the median in some very critical town
Yes,
positions. That would be one of the first things.
right, that would be
go.
one of the first things that would go, right. But, again, I just don't know.
Do your research, look it up, the budget, the warrant for the town meeting is online at the town website, and have your information. Okay. Future programs, the only one that Nisha was talking about was the Older American Day coming up in May.
Yeah, I wondered, originally Sean had said something about breakfast with the chiefs on June 8th. Do we know anything about that?
I do not. I asked, before I came here, I asked her if there was anything, any upcoming, but if there is, it would be on the calendar in the
It would be,
newsletter.
And it would be in the newsletter.
Right.
Has Nisha mentioned if she needs any help with the Older Americans program?
She, well, she always, part of the volunteer opportunities to put in the newsletter is pantry, working for the pantry, delivery for the pantry, setting up and breaking down for all events, check in at events, and join the friends and be an active friend. So those are the things that the, volunteer operations, so, opportunities. So, yeah, I mean, there is, setting up for all these events takes time, and taking down, and when we only have two part-time and one full-time employee, it's a difficult thing. I will send this out to you, an email, I got this yesterday. The House Ways and Means budget was released on 4/12/23, and your advocacy is needed to ensure full funding of the Councils on Aging line item. This line item is made of two parts. 90% is the formula grants that go directly to your COA. It is great news that the the House Ways and Means budget included the $14 per elder increase that we are seeking this year. So that's good. And 10% is the service incentive grants, or SIG. The amount included for this part of the line item was less than what we are seeking. This SIG funding is important because it promotes quality and innovation for COAs. It helps to support training and technical assistance, regionalization, piloting of new programs, including all of the grant opportunities through MCOA and more. Please be sure to contact your state representative and advocate for fully funding councils on aging. And then there's how to do this. So I will send those to you, and if you would like to, write a little letter to your representative, I will do that. And let me see if there was anything else. I think that's it. So, our next scheduled meeting is May 17th at, there is other.
Just had a quick question.
Go ahead. Sorry, Barbara.
That's all right. We have the board has our finance subcommittee, we have our personnel subcommittee. It's also mentioned a nominating committee. What exactly is that?
Okay, so every year, thank you. Well, that would be coming up in May. And that's something we need to discuss in May, too. So at the end, before the new fiscal year, the board needs to restructure. And there are some people, and I'd have to check, it's probably Irene.
No, this would be my second year.
Your second
We're in
year?
our second
For
year,
next year would be your third year.
Right. So we're still okay.
So nobody here has to re-up.
Nobody, no.
Okay.
So
We probably can put that on,
On May.
unless you want an existing nominating committee, probably it could go on hold for a year. I mean,
Right.
for a
And,
while.
and so the nominating committee typically says, so you have, oh no, they've changed that too. Now I'm very confused. Not having the bylaws in front of me. It used to be you could serve 6 years, or 2 terms, 3 years and 3 years, and then you'd have to go off. That's why I went off, and then I came back on. I think it was changed, that we don't have that anymore. I'm not sure. I'm mixing that up with library. Sorry. All these bylaws running in my
So
head.
Maybe that would be a purpose of the nominating committee, to research that.
And we don't have a nominating committee because, to be honest, up until this year, we only had 5 people, and there were no such committees. We'd say, who wants to do it? Do you have any ideas? So-and-so's resigning. Who do you want? Let's, when I had to go off and Frank Sadowski had to go off, it was, okay, I have Irene and I'll ask Marie. So that's how it happens. But we could definitely have a formal nominating committee, which would be, unless one of you wants to go off the board, if we're going to remain this board, we don't need to nominate someone else. We don't have an official. It's also a time that we restructure our
Officers.
officers. And anyone who would like to be the chair, we could nominate that person, and, because I really am not up for this. I'm not that good at it, I don't think. So,
Would you be okay if I nominated you to do research on this, on the
Well,
nominating
I had
committee
a
for next month?
Yes, and I did have
Oh.
I have a copy here of the bylaws,
oh, good.
and it just says, council shall exist of 7 members, shall be nominated by a majority vote. Council members shall be appointed for a term of 3 years, excepting members appointed to fill an unexpired term.
Mhm.
Those unexpired term appointees shall serve initially only for the duration of the expired term, except as provided in section 2143. Members may serve no more than 2 consecutive terms. Appointment to an unexpired term does not constitute a full term. Upon unanimous recommendation of the membership committee and subsequent unanimous vote, a retiree member shall be eligible for reappointment to one additional term of 3 years. After a lapse of 1 year, ex-members may be eligible for appointment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So one of the things that does need to be clarified is Linda, and I think the 3 new members that came on after
Are
us
we
all were
yeah.
filling unexpired terms.
Mhm.
So you have,
We need to know when we're done.
yeah, you need to know when you're done.
On expired terms.
So,
For those-
so
for
somebody
cover
replaced
resignations.
Catherine Alessi. When was Catherine's?
Oh.
And someone replaced, each one of those positions. And I know way back, Lynn used to have a record of who was expired when. I don't know where that is.
But 2 of those positions were brand-new positions because we went from 5 to 7.
Yeah, that
So
that
they would not
but
be,
That was the 2 of us
Oh,
are the
okay.
new members, so,
Right.
Deb,
So what we need to figure out is who the 3 people we replaced were. 'cause we-
right,
And when their
resigned.
terms
So
were.
that has to be clarified,
so
So,
Anita, Dot, and Catherine.
right.
Those 3,
Anita?
and
Dot, and what was the third one?
Kathy Alessi.
Catherine Alessi.
Taking over their time?
I guess so.
So it's whenever their term was up.
So
that
in the
our
minutes, you
term
would
was
have
up.
when they resigned.
Okay, I'll go look that up.
No, you don't need to know when they resigned. You just need to know when their term was.
Oh, when
Right?
they started.
And,
Oh, I might
and
not
I
have all
could
that.
look back when I was secretary,
Okay,
and we
so,
could maybe figure that out, because if I still have those minutes, or they'd be in the minutes before, because when Lynn was still director,
It'd be in your
she
minutes.
had each person, rotating with the terms. So, this one's out of and you have second term, and,
So we should maintain that in the absence of a director.
yes, and it
Maybe-
should be, or
maybe
it
in
should really, it
perpetuity,
doesn't
the
mean,
board-
it
the
should be
board
the
should
board.
always
Yes.
maintain that
So I will see if I can look that up.
yeah, they would be in your minutes, not mine.
Right.
Because
No, because I don't think,
they were already existing on the committee when I came on. I mean, on the board when I came on.
right.
So technically, the 3 newest members filled unexpired terms, and they have to be assigned 1-to-1.
Right.
Yeah.
So it would be in order of when the resignations occurred and when the appointments were made.
Oh, I see what
And
you're
then they would be fulfilling the remainder of that
Right.
term. So technically, they would then be able to
Go
do
on for
2
6 years.
for 6 more years.
Okay.
So I can say that you and Marie, Irene and Marie, your term, this will be ending in 2024.
Yes.
Your first 3-year term, because one of you replaced me and one of you replaced Frank. And I know that. And the others would, and because there were only 5 on the board, it wasn't a, 2 on this year, 2 on this year, 2 on this year. It just didn't work out. So it was, yeah, I'll look, and it's going to be the same thing here. And we know that you and I started in 2022, so ours will be over in '25, so we just have to figure out who you guys are.
And I just want to say, in terms of term, this has been the longest 1 year.
It's been the longest time since the end of November, too.
It's been a long time, I know.
Yeah.
It has been. And again, I can't thank you all enough for all you do. I mean, Who was to know? Like, I saw Susan here today knitting. It's like, that's all, I was going to come back and knit. We were just going to, okay, that sounds fine. And here we are doing all this.
To Larry for coordinating the tent raising.
Yes, yes,
yesterday.
we said, yep. And the others that
Oh,
showed
and-
up.
And everyone who showed up.
Yep.
We had,
You had a
I don't
good-
think we could have done it with fewer hands. We could have used a few more, but we did it.
No, you did, thank you. Yeah, that was great. Okay, is anything else? This was a long meeting, guys.
I know.
We should probably meet twice, we should probably meet twice a month, the way things are going, because there's so much information that has gone on since the last
Hopefully,
meeting.
next one won't be quite as long.
Right. Okay, so our next meeting will be May 17th at 9:30 here at the Town Hall Main Meeting Room. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay.
All right, so I got some things to do here.
All right. I've got to get to